Hello, welcome to SHADDCAST. I'm your host, Shad Scott, and I'm trying this video thing out for episode 28. Today is the March 18th, 2018, and it's South by Southwest here in Austin, and I got to play a show at Threadgill's on Wednesday, and had like 250, 260, something like that, maybe more people turn out. Um, if you're new to the podcast, I am in a Grateful Dead tribute band. I'll pause for laughter. Seems to be a source of amusement for many of you. And that's cool. You don't get it. That's fine. I don't personally listen to that much Dead, but I know it like the back of my hand. I grew up on it. And I am dedicated to recreating that music for as long as I can with the group that I got. We got some dates coming up. We're going to be, next weekend will be, that's the 25th. I think it's a Sunday. We're going to be at Sam's Burger Joint in San Antonio, Texas. And that is a really cool venue. Great sound man. Great burgers. If you eat meat, which I don't. Not saying I'm better than you. I'm just saying you don't need meat to live, to survive. You can actually eat a lot of plants. I also eat fish, so it's a little hypocritical of me, but that's how I roll. Then we're playing the 30th at the ABGB, which is the Austin Beer Garden and Brewery. And they make award-winning beers. I think at the Great American Beer Fest, they won a handful of gold medals. So really impressive work from those guys. They're pretty new. They've only been around for 5 years or so, and just came out running. They make that industry pills. It's so good. They got great pizzas and salads. So that place holds about 300 on the inside, and we usually fill it up. So it'd be nice to do that again on the 30th. And then the 31st is we're back at the Cottonwood, which is our Houston haunt. Used to be Last Concert Cafe, but yeah, I don't know. We just couldn't get a steady draw. We could never get more than like 150 people out there. And at Cottonwood, there's more of a built-in crowd. It's kind of indoor, outdoor. Big patio, great beer selection, tons of beers, and the great sound guy again. I don't know, just there's no sand. Last Concert Cafe it's just basically a sandbox with a Mexican food restaurant inside. Great sound guys and everything. Just I got sick of the sand, honestly. I wouldn't complain if they just poured concrete over that whole pit like they have the rest of Houston, Texas. Just concrete jungle. So that'll be the 31st. If you notice, I got a pink pig hat. This is the first pink garment I have. It's got a hair sticking out of it. So, yeah, what do you think? Pretty in pink? No way? Can't pull it off? I'm almost pulling it off. There's been a lot of change and turmoil in my life recently because after 10 years at Pioneer Wine Company, I have quit. I was the sales manager there, and I got an offer from Victory Wine Group, which is kind of the size Pioneer was 3 years ago or 7 years ago. They're 3 years in, and I like that size company. You can still do a lot. You can affect change. You can make major strides, whereas once you get to the level Pioneer's at now, you're kind of just trying to maintain. There's a lot of apologies. We just didn't really have I don't know. I don't think we were doing it right. We were doing it pretty close to right, as well as we could, but A lot of people have been asking me why the change, why the move. I figured I would explain it all on SHADDCAST. So basically, in the last year or two, we'd picked up a bunch of brands, and as you get bigger brands, and with bigger brands come douchier people attached to those brands. So they'll have these like sales ambassadors, and those people were intolerable. I could not get along with those cats, and they didn't really represent why I'm in the wine business. I'm kind of in it for the family-owned, old world focused, wines with energy, with verve and everything to prove. Understated, high acid, low oak, low alcohol, food friendly wines. That's what I'm into. And I'm not saying this new company Victory is all that, but they are more the new California, the new France kind of, more wines that suit my liking. There's some really fun brands that I'm excited about representing. Most of them are all champagne, admittedly, like Baresh, Agripar, Savar, Jacques Solos, Fabrice Pouillon. So, unfortunately, I found out once I joined, those are never in stock. So, but the good news is if they ever do come in stock, I might be able to buy them at cost. Just found that out. So that's good news. But yeah, the upper management at Pioneer is real laissez-faire, real hands-off. I love those guys, but I never really knew what was going on. There weren't any State of the Union addresses. There weren't any. There wasn't much direction or reviews or raises. That'd be a beef that I had. So I don't know. I just felt like I was kind of all alone, and I didn't really know what to do as far as towing the company line. Now, we did great, and I knew we had to keep growing, and I had to keep my reps happy, and that's something I did to varying degrees of success. Definitely the growth thing was happening. I don't know if all my reps loved me or, were happy to work for me, or if I was as helpful as I could have been, or if I was, I don't know if I was the best boss. It was the first time I've ever been a boss, and although I think it suits my personality and skill set, I just never liked bosses. I hate authority. I hate being a part of authority, and I always want to be more of a supporting cast. Not behind the scenes, but definitely trying to be a helpful, part of the machine. So I get to keep doing that at Victory. It's the same job. It's the sales manager job. But it was kind of a contentious move because after I got back from Japan, I quit, leading to a lot of conspiracy theories that I had accepted the job before I went to Japan. And I'd like to go ahead and clear that up right now for the record. I had not accepted the job before I went to Japan. It all happened real quick. So the trip to Japan that I spoke about on the last podcast, it was a sales incentive trip that I did not make the numbers. I did not hit those numbers. I did not deserve to go on this trip. And therefore, I booked a gig. I mean, I had totally conceded to not going in the first place. I didn't even know why I was going because as a sales manager, I'm not out there hitting the streets every day. And I don't know. It just makes more sense to send the top rep on these incentive trips. Like they can go out to the accounts and sell it and tell the story and share the cultural significance and the epiphanies they had abroad. And, sending a manager is a risky move. because some managers just sit in their office and they have very little contact with the market. Now, I happen to be different. I actually did get a lot of sales with the one account I had, which was a chain. So I did get a lot of, I did kind of hit a big number, but it still wasn't enough to make the trip. So I was surprised when at the last second, literally like a week and a half before the trip, they're like, "You're going to Japan." And that was shocking to me. It was surprising. It was a great surprise. Right after that, I had dinner with a friend of mine, and she was saying, this friend who I highly respect as a killer wine salesperson, we're having dinner, and I thought she was going to get the job at Victory because, I think I have the greatest respect for her, and I think she'd do the job better than I would. But for whatever reason, I think it was some sort of sabotage, some fake news, kept her from getting the job, and she told me this at dinner, so I'm like, send a resume, kind of under the table, like sending my resume in, and realized that I could have been a contender, and yeah, that's kind of what happened. Then it turns out that they were eyeing me all along, and they wanted me to be their sales manager. Now, knowing I was going, after I interviewed, I had a week left before the trip, and I was like, well, listen, I'm focused on Japan. I'm not going to make up my mind right now. I got this long plane flight to think about it, and I did. And they sent me an offer, and it was a pay raise, and it was a smaller company, and it was a change of pace, which is the biggest reason I changed companies. And on the way home, I was like, fuck it, let's do this. I'm ready for a change. So I took the job. When I got back, I quit. I walked into my supervisor's office, and I was like, listen, I gotta tender my resignation or whatever. And the shockwave rippled out across the whole company, and everyone was really cool, to be honest. When I was leaving, I got a lot of is it my fault? Is it his fault? Is it her fault? Why is this happening? How could this be happening? What can we do? Can we match the offer? And they're super cool and respectful. And I just come from Japan, where everyone bows to everybody and everyone's uber respectful and very kind and compassionate. Unless you're a dolphin or a whale, then they will fucking kill you. And they'll eat you if you're lucky. So anyway, yeah, that goes for all seafood. If you're swimming around by Japan, danger. Those are dangerous waters. But to me, they're super kind. A lot of bowing, which I love. Everyone bowing to everybody. And that was kind of the same respectful manner that I walked away from this job. So 10 years of working at a place is a long goddamn time. It's the longest I've ever worked at a company. And it was really rewarding, and it was cool to see it go from a small company to a big company. But at the end of the day, we were starting to sell to Walmart and stuff, and it was just kind of, I found myself less and less spiritually kind of involved, or I gave a shit less and less every day. So yeah, man, I left, and a lot of people were angry at me. Like the importers that sent me to Japan were especially angry, and they thought it was a shitty move that I would go on this elaborate trip and then come back and quit, instead of sharing all that I'd learned and spreading the love of Japan and sake. And so yeah, I did make some. I ruined some friendships, I fear. But at the end of the day, you gotta do what's best for you and your family, and you gotta seize opportunities when they appear. I don't think I regret this at all. It's been really fun working for this company so far. There's so much to do. It's really stressful, but it's also exciting. And like I said, it's kind of like going back in time to when Pioneer was 3 years old, and just finally starting to get some traction in the market and putting up numbers and getting bigger brands and bigger importers hopping on and added to the portfolios. And in fact, the warehouse for Victory is where the Pioneer warehouse used to be, which is interesting. Fun fact. So I've been, another reason I left was one of my top reps who I was really stoked to work with and we jam well together. She had quit on me because she was not feeling Pioneer, and then joined Victory and was like, come on over, the water's great, And so I kind of had some relationships there that made the transition easier. Even though I feel like, we're all pretty stressed out because there's so much to do. It's still a good move. And I'm hoping to bring some stability and ease some of that chaos, or reduce some of the chaos and entropy. I'd have to say that the problem I had at Pioneer was I had all these reps, and I don't know if any of them were making the money they wanted to. There just weren't enough accounts and there weren't enough deals and programs going on to line their pockets. And this is the opposite. There's tons of opportunity, tons of accounts, and very few reps. Just this many reps. So, yeah, my problems have been kind of reversed. So that's been an interesting challenge. But I feel good about it. I sell good wine still. They have a lot of great California wine. Some wines I tasted recently that really blew my mind were Infield and Liquid Farm and Hansel. These were all surprisingly good domestic wines. I usually just drink French wine and maybe German and Austrian, but maybe the Italian wines. But I think I could drink some of these Cali wines. They're California's making some good wines these days. You just have to you got to dig, and you got to pay a little bit extra, but they're pretty exciting. So another cool thing I get to do is at this company, I didn't have much say at Pioneer, and this company, I was like, hey, we should add this wine and this wine and this wine to our portfolio, to our offerings, and they're like, sure, just tell the purchasing manager how much you want and which wines you want. That's pretty badass. I get to just add wines. So there's a certain amount of control and power I have here that, I didn't have after 10 years at Pioneer. So, I like the trust that they're instilling in me. But yeah, that's, it's also cool seeing who likes this company. We have like different accounts started to hate Pioneer, and I'm sure there's accounts that hate Victory. I tried to join Victory actually when they started, but one of the principals, who's now gone, was like, "No, we're good." And I was like, "All right, well, you'll find I'm a better team member than I am a competitor." But that proved to be true. And anyway, once he was gone, it was like, get in there. We actually had a team party in Dallas where we all got together, the new team, because I'm not the only new guy. There's a bunch of new folks at this company, and we all got together. They got a food truck, and we went out to South Lake, and it was like a banh mi food truck. So we all got together, which, we never did at Pioneer, or maybe 3 or 4 years ago we got together and hung out and drank wine together. But I think that's a cool thing I missed at Pioneer. That, it's exciting to get the kind of the group mind together and the organizing enthusiasm and energy. So, that's cool. We had a big meeting the next day and tasted some great wine and kind of learned what the focus was. But yeah, I love the wine business. It's great. You know, it's a grind and it'll kick your ass, but it's I think it's worth it. We're doing good stuff. Wine is great. Let's see. Oh yeah. So anyway, some of these accounts that I would not have been able to sell to with Pioneer for whatever reason, I am able to sell to, and so I'm making new friends. Going to some new restaurants. One of them is Aviary, that has a Frank Zappa page in their wine list. Like, their wine list has different celebrities, based on the wine selections. Like, the Zappa page would be eclectic and genius, and then they have like a Steve McQueen. It's like just the cool wines and yada yada. You get it. They got oysters there, which is always a good move. Putting a raw bar in Austin, Texas. They used to be like a furniture store or wine bar. Now they're more of just a restaurant with a nice patio. So anyway, that's a company I get to do business with now. One of my favorite restaurants, Barlotta, likes Victory a lot better than Pioneer. So that's hopefully I can start hanging out with Chef Daniel, or at least meet him, Daniel. Not feel guilty that I work for a company that fucked him over at one point. I don't know if we ever fucked him over at Pioneer, but he acts like it. The Fox Restaurant Group. I'm in charge of that. So that's North and Flower Child and Culinary Dropout and True Food Kitchen. Those are all great restaurants that are actually the most successful restaurants right now in Austin. It's impressive the level of business they do and maintain. So I've been going there. Went to the North Italia, just opened up a new location downtown, and that's doing really well. I'm surprised how much wine they crank through, because there's a lot of competition. You got like Teca and Taverna and Italic and Traviata, all these great Italian restaurants all over, all up and down downtown. And somehow they plop down and are winning. Speaking of winning, another new account opening up, or a new restaurant, is called Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. This is the Old Royal Blue grocery head chef or cook, or the director of the kitchen. She is moving into this train car out by the Y, no kill, and she's gonna do rotisserie chickens. Now in France, they have, I don't know how many countries they do this, but I know in France they have the rotisserie that has like 30 birds on it, and it's going around and around, and all the chicken fat drips down onto the potatoes below, and the potatoes below just catch all that fat and cook the potatoes. And chicken fat cooked potatoes are the shit. I haven't eaten chicken in a long time, but I will probably eat one of her chickens when that place is up and running. I brought her a huge bag of wine, and she bought none of it. So I need to do better next time. Bring her a better bag of wine to sample, and maybe she'll pick one up. She's being picky. I respect that as a picky man. Where else have I gone recently? Nickel City is Nickel City's on the east side of town, next to J&J Spirits, and they're killing it. They're kind of like the hip new bar on the east side, and it used to be a bar called Long Branch Inn, I believe. I don't know if it was even a hotel, but that place was kind of a dingy shithole, and somehow Nickel City came in and revamped it, and now it's much more popular. I don't know if it's the owners or what. Maybe it's the bartenders with their tits hanging out of their shirts. I don't know, but they're doing something right. They have a pretty heady selection. I have not been eating sushi, because after Japan, I've had all the raw fish I could possibly eat. I even had some raw chicken, which is super sketchy. Not raw, but mostly raw. It was kind of like a ceviche chicken. Never again. Never again. I went to the Highball the same day we went to Nickel City. It was good at Nickel City. Then it was shitty over at Dirty's. We went to Dirty's off Fifth Street or Sixth Street, and then went back up to Highball. So it went good again. It done got good. Highball is a bar, like a cocktail bar slash venue slash karaoke complex. There's uh, uh, like 5 or 6, no, maybe more, maybe like 8 or 9 different themed karaoke rooms. They're pretty small, but they're fun, and they have cool themes like Mario Brothers and Hell, and then Space. So that place is cool, and we seriously sang for like, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours. It's like 5 or 6 of us. I was like hoarse the next day. Some of the highlights there were Africa from Toto, and Sweet Judy Blue Eyes from Crosby, Stills and Nash, Cracklin' Rosie. We had a lot of fun singing. Oh, went to a new restaurant called Pitchfork Pretty. Pitchfork Pretty is a tongue twister on the east side over by Jacoby's. And they, I don't really know what their concept is. I don't understand. I guess it's like New American, but I had like some beets and we had some carpaccio, like some snapper crudo, and some mushrooms with sweet potatoes. Anyway, it was good. It was very good. I mean, I'm not like dying to go back, but it was good. Pretty good drink selection as well. I drove up to a couple days ago. I went up to Temple, Texas, and all the way up to Waco. There's a new restaurant opening there called Milo, with a really knowledgeable chef and beverage director. And on the way, stopped in Temple and went to La Rive and had some carbonara. And I hadn't had bacon in a long time. Like, there's a little bacon in the sauce. Bacon's still good. Still good. I missed it. But yeah, I still some classics I've been going to. Zach's best brunch, I think, in town. Zach's Pints and Plates at Riverside and First Street, I think. Barton Springs, somewhere around there. Yeah, they have the vegetarian Benedict, which sometimes you gotta have hollandaise sauce, and that's my hollandaise fix right there. Crua Thai makes that crab fried rice that I love, but they're closed for renovations. Sad. I can't wait till they open up again. And like I said, Barlotta is always a favorite of ours. And we get the fidua or the tapas or just the paellas, the best. Went to a new restaurant. So I would say that the new restaurants for this podcast are TLC and Pitchfork Pretty. TLC is basically like a Maine or, like one of those New England, like a New Hampshire. Like I could picture this in Rye, New Hampshire. But they do like a boil. What do they call it? A boil, and they'll put like a Dungeness crab or a lobster or something like that on a bunch of potatoes, like red new potatoes and corn. They have oysters on a half shell, and it's almost really good. Certainly expensive, but yeah, it was pretty tasty. I enjoyed it. The problem with eating crabs, I always love the crab meat. But when you are eating a whole crab, not only is it incredibly labor intensive and messy, like your hands, I had to go to the bathroom and clean my hands like 2 or 3 times. It's just like all the crab guts were just fucking gross. So, the crabs just stink. Like once you get in there and start getting under the hood or whatever, it's a putrid sea smell that I just fucking hate. But that meat is so good. Oh. This is the problems of my life. These are first world problems. Dungeons. But anyway, got a Sierra Nevada. Actually, I ordered a Pivo Pills a Hans Pills from Real Ale, and um, they were out, so I got a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, an old classic. Um, so yeah, that place is right by Alamo Draft House, which we also saw a movie that night. We saw Annihilation, which was a pretty smart kind of horror sci-fi drama with Natalie Portman. All female cast, but no one's talking about it. In the post Me Too era, where the future is feminine and women are gonna save the world. Here comes this smart sci-fi movie with like gay people, all women, minorities, all the buzzwords for the diversity checklists for today's entertainment, and no one talked about it or went to see it. It was like a straight to Netflix movie. And I'm not saying it was the best movie. It was good. A little boring. Maybe better than Netflix. I don't know. I thought some of those visual effects look so great on the big screen, and that's why I still go to movies. But it was unnoticed. Everyone wants to go see Black Panther for the fifth time, or whatever the next Marvel movie piece of shit is. I'm so sick of these superhero movies. They're just kind of predictable, and the leads are they always seem just so plastic and hollow. Yeah, what's going on with the cinema today? Yeah, what's going on with my luck? I mean, I'm kind of like a claustrophobic guy in general, and I try to time shit out. Like I'll park in a place where I feel like I'm not gonna get held up, or I'm not gonna be bothered by people fussing about their cars. Like I'll park it intentionally out of the way, or like it's just weird timing stuff. It's this overcrowded planet. But like I'll go to an empty parking lot, say the grocery store, and I'll park, and then when I come back to the car, without fail, someone's like putting a baby in their baby in the car seat, and I can't get in my car. Just some nonsense. Somebody's got to be someone's got to, some elderly person has got to just be like stalled out behind my car, in their car. A bunch of nonsense timing. As a drummer, I expect more out of myself. Or like at the gym is a great example. Like I always try to avoid seeing cocks. Like I'm not into seeing dicks, and I try to like keep my eyes above. It's just kind of tough when you got some old Ron Paul looking character just standing in front of the mirror, like flossing his gooch. Just kind of got his towel going, or like I'll pick a locker that I can tell people aren't to either side of me, or I'll go in off times, and without fail, I'll get back to my locker, and there's got to be some naked dude just standing there on the phone or something, just having a conversation with another naked dude right by. I'm like, not to be Mr. Modesty, but Jesus Christ, can you keep your cock in your pants? Like, can you keep your, like, when you get naked in the locker room, here's how it goes. You face the locker, you take your pants down, you put your other pants on. It's a quick 10-second operation. None of this walking around the locker room with your cock hanging out, and getting on the scale naked, and blow drying your hair naked, and having conversations naked, or even sitting there and thinking about. I mean, that's for the sauna, or like, I don't know, the Hippie Hollow nudist colony, whatever. Like there's nude beaches for that. Let's keep the cock exposure to a minimum. If you're listening to this and you go to gyms, let's keep that shit to a minimum. I understand nudity's got to happen, but we don't need to be parading around like a bunch of cocks. Or a bunch of peacocks, rather. So yeah, the cock avoidance is not working. I have to be. I guess I gotta be around a bunch of naked dudes. Um, I went to 40th birthday party, and there was a roast. And I always get nervous when I watch roast because you've seen roast go horribly bad. Like, but this one was positive, kind of positive and funny. Um, for example, like when Obama was roasting Trump. Excuse me. Obama was like, "Yeah, one thing you'll never be is president." He was like making fun of what the Trump presidency would look like. Like a casino or something. Turn the White House into a casino lounge. Um, covered in gold. But yeah, that might have been the point where Trump decided to run for president. Maybe Obama making fun of him was the catalyst to him running. Like, oh yeah, I'll never be president. I'll show you. I'll fucking be president. Yeah, and he is president, and it's been a shit show. I do enjoy him for his entertainment value. I think he's the most entertaining president, but that's not what I look for in a president. I look for more of that, leader, stoic, brilliant, brave, like that. Some of these altruistic qualities. Whereas this guy is just like a ankle biting huckster con man who's just a liar, and his infidelities are a problem. Like Stormy Daniels has been in the news recently. This porn star that he slept with as Melania was having his son Eric, I think. I could be wrong about which son. Was it Don Jr.? Anyway, so yeah, he's cheating on with a porn star on his. He's already got a hot wife. Like, does he really need some porn star? So she's suing him, and he's suing her, and I think she just wants to get famous out of it, but he wants $20 million for defamation or libel or whatever. So that's interesting. And there's just this exodus from the White House. We've just been seeing people pouring out. He's got a war on with the FBI, and people are just quitting the White House left and right. It's a total shit show. I went to the Austin Music Awards, and that's something I didn't even know these existed, and I don't know how long they've been going on, but it's pretty cool to see. People like John Speece, who is one of my favorite drummers in town, get acknowledged for the best drummer. He's from Brownout and Grupo Fantasma and Money Chicha and all these cool Latin rock bands. Brownout, really great player. Liz Lambert, the powerful Liz Lambert, had a whole showcase basically where they talk about how great and important she was to the community, and I think she's involved with like Hotel San Jose and South Austin, the Austin Motel, and kind of that South Congress Entertainment District. She's one of the heavies from there. Hard Proof Afrobeat won Best World Music, which is a bullshit category because we're all making world music because we're all from the world. Now, I guess when we have a colony on Mars and they're making music, then that'll be other world music, or maybe we're making music from the moon, or in space stations, or in space shuttles. In space, that would be not world music, but I'm pretty much convinced that it's all world music. And my band actually finally made. We never ask for accolades, or we never try to get nominated for anything like in the Austin Music Awards, because we're a cover band, and it's already weird enough making money off other people's music. I think we all feel a little weird about that. But, for whatever reason, we got on there, and the honorable mention size. I guess I was like, we made like the 6th or 7th most popular cover band in town, along with my old band Heartburn. The winner was actually a Selena cover band. So I think as long as she's around, she'll always win that. But I got other news. Got a new iPhone. Got the iPhone 8. And I hate it. For some reason I got the 64 gig, and that is not enough space. Like, I swear to God, every time I turn it off and on, yeah, like I'll delete shit. Like, I'll delete apps, and all my pictures are off there. All my videos are off the phone. All the I tried to erase podcasts, but they just started downloading. You know, I've got all these podcasts I subscribe to, and just started like downloading all the different podcasts. So, you know, the media section of my storage is like 60% of my phone. I can't even like download the podcast app to start erasing them because there's no space. So it's weird. I'll like manage the space down. I'll free up all this storage space, and then it just fills back up on its own. It's driving me insane. I'm about to fucking throw this phone through the window. So now I'm using the iPhone 7, my old phone, for apps and any fun shit games, you know. And then the iPhone 8 is strictly going to be, you know, like for phone calls and emails and the most basic shit. So that's stupid. Another stupid thing is in Austin is these bombings, like package bombings. People are, and it's supposedly racially motivated, but people are sending some asshole, maybe one guy, is sending explosive packages to Hispanic and black residences and murdering them. Like, they'll open the package, it explodes, and they die. And that's a thing happening in Trump's America. So that's some bullshit. I think of Austin as a really safe place, and it makes me sad that people are blowing each other up. Like, isn't there enough bullshit going on? Is there enough sadness and war? Now we have to send packages to each other, blowing each other up. It's a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, my wife is gone, so I'm going to be batching it. It's a good chance for me to do whatever the hell I want. And she is in Lubbock, Texas, doing some grad school work, residency they call it. So yeah, I get to be lazy and do whatever the hell I want. Oh yeah, I forgot speaking of lazy, I had a week and a half off between jobs where I was just the laziest piece of shit ever. People always say to me, like, how do you do all that you do? And, you know, you seem so busy. You got, you know, the band and the podcast and daily gym visits and, you know, pretty healthy social life and, you know, this full-time job, blah, 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 wife and dogs. Yeah, I mean, I stay busy for sure. But I'd rather not. In fact, I'd rather not work. Even though I kind of like my job, I don't like that I have to work. And I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I'd rather not work. In fact, I'd rather sleep in every day, you know, go to the gym, eat some breakfast or, you know, lunch, depending on what time it is. And then, you know, play drums and podcast and watch a couple shows and, you know, take the dogs on a walk. Go outside more. Yeah, I just would love to do these things. And I feel like the fact that we're wage slaves and we have to work every day for most of our lives is a real drag. Work is for robots, goddammit. And I'm looking forward to the rise of the machines. Hopefully it'll usher in universal basic income and we can get away from the grind. You know, today's Sunday, tomorrow's Monday. There's this looming, you know, back to the torture, which never stops, all day Sunday. You got to get back at it, get back in the office, get back in traffic. And I'm not looking forward to it. Even though, relatively speaking, I do love my job. But that week and a half was magical. I did a staycation. And, man, it was beautiful. God damn it. Nothing to do except hang out with my dog. I was like my dog. I was one of my dogs. It was like I joined the pack that week and a half and just played gigs and practiced and flew my drone and went for walks and long lunches and dinners. It's fucking beautiful. That's the dream. So that kind of, I got caught up on sleep. I got my algorithms up, and I realized, what else is that, like, what life could be like if you're loaded, or if if we didn't have to work. So goals. I got a taste of retirement. A week and a half of no job was so fucking beautiful. And, man, that's the dream. But anyway, that's a podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in a little while.